it at your peril, but it's most probably a really good same race multi or an exacta or a trifecta sort of race, but he certainly looks to stand out, and I wouldn't think he'd get much further out than Fours On, would you?
Nah, surely not. He's an absolute machine, this boy, at least from what we've seen from one start, Corey Smith. They're entering the parade yard for the maiden final tonight.
Certainly are, and I'm going to grab a quick word with Brad Greeno. Brad, we were talking off air before about your expectations leading into the first race, and he even surprised you.
Well, he did surprise me, mate, honestly. I mean, he'd been trialling up like a storm, really, and look, we gave him his first 500 and he went good, but took it out of him quite a bit, pulled him back, and then raced him, mate, and he showed us.
Naturally, given the ownership group, the training group, the comparisons will come. The wow, she's fast, maybe a touch premature, but you've got to have high expectations of him coming off that run.
Look, I think we do have high expectations, but look, he's still got 2.5 mil to make, doesn't he? So we'll see until then.
Well, good luck. And what about box 6? He had it last week. Any issues this week?
I mean, it'll be based on the dogs around him. Look, if he begins, he begins. If he doesn't, he doesn't. It is what it is, mate. It's a dog race, isn't it?
Exactly right. Well, good luck with you there. I might grab Steve White quickly as well. Steve, first of all, Irish Millie scratch later, the reigning champ. How's she travelling?
Look, she the time limit, I was rushing her, and unfortunately she didn't quite make it to the line. So there's plenty more races, and that's the way it is at the moment. There's that many races you can go to. You miss one. I would have liked to come back and defend, but that's what it is.
Absolutely, and you've got a chance tonight. Obviously, it's going to be hard to beat Saquon, but coming up with the inside draw as a reserve is always nice.
Yeah, that's a bonus for sure. This is Irish Millie's half sister, so you know she's got some ability. She's a little bit nervous. I reckon I'll just take time, and look, we're hoping later on that she can stay. So it's just a bit of time, really. We've got to sort of go through the process and don't take our time with it.
Exactly right. Well, good luck tonight and good luck with Irish Millie moving forward. Boys, I'm excited for this one. Saquon looked like an absolute star on debut, and I can't wait to see what he does tonight.
He does look like a star in the making, Smithy, no two ways about that. And as we join Sky Racing 1 here, Nath Saquon, the fastest greyhound to break his maiden status at Sandown Park in the history of the game. What does he do tonight?
Well, you'd think he'd do what he did on debut, 5:03, 18:56, 29:05 on debut. If he can repeat that, he'll just be winning this chase. He exited from box 6 last week, ran a dead straight line, and you'd think he'd be able to do the same here tonight. I thought the play of the race might be number 7, Whiskey Whiskers. Greyhound didn't have much luck on debut. I think he might be able to cut across with the favourite. He might be able to run a cheeky race at an each way quote. Number 8, Webleck Snook, ran 29.64, being runner-up to Saquon last week. Nothing to say he won't improve. Second time here at the races. And then for 4th, I put in number 4, Tiger Rocks. 6, 7, 8 and 4, and we'll be keen to watch the clock if this boy jumps on the arm.
And I tell you what, if you didn't know this boy last week, you know him now, and the eyes of the Australian greyhound public will be on this opener here at Sandown Park tonight before we get stuck into what is an enormous card with heats of the Sandown Cup, the Group 1 Sapphire Crown and the Group 1 Harrison Dawson, and the man to talk us through the lot, Dan Hibbard.
$18.56 up the back, and he was making Saquon really work. He was riding his tail. He's certainly a greyhound to follow. He's run into this greyhound twice and hasn't been able to dictate from the front, and it's hard to do when you're running sections of 5:07, 18.56 up the back. So same back split as last week for Saquon. He's pretty foolproof early. He's a pup on the rise, and we're going to hear plenty of that name moving forward.
Yeah, big time. Corey Smith, you've got Brad Greeno.
The field. Then he copped a little bit of pressure down the back and he responded.
Look, I mean, I guess that's the most pressure he's had his whole time he's been running with us. So, I mean, to handle that well, I thought he did a terrific job. Look, obviously didn't go as quick early as he did last week, but I mean, as I said, yeah, it's hit or miss sometimes, isn't it? And I mean, if it's a miss and he's going 5:07, it's still not too bad, is it?
No, 5:07, 18.56, they're group class splits. But you spoke to me off air earlier about his run home time really impressing you, and he's done it again with another 10.54.
Very happy with it, mate. I think he's shown his strength straight away. So, I mean, at the minute, he's like, he can't do no wrong, can he? So just keep hoping he continues on with it.
Well, two very impressive performances to start his career. Go give him a cuddle and a pat. I'll tell you what, boys, I'm impressed. I can't wait to see more from him moving forward.
It was amazing to watch, and they talk us through this because it was fair to begin, it seemed. I mean, we didn't have the best view of all time down here at the bottom of the straight, but it was pure acceleration that got him to the front.
He's certainly got a motor underneath that hood, doesn't he? He began on terms with him, and it just really dropped the clutch and really took off. And fair credit to Weblex Snoop, as we touched on immediately after the race. He was on his coattails for them first two sections, 5:07, 18.56 up the back there. As Corey just said, group class sections, and Weblex Snoop really stuck with him. But we talked about Saquon's breeding being out of the tiers line, which is notoriously strong, and he was getting further and further away as that race went on. 29.1 to back up the 29.05 on debut. He runs a straight line, he's got early speed, he's got mid-section speed, and he's got run home, Jace. He's exactly what you want in a pup, and he hasn't been phased by going to the races. He was doing it on the trail track, and now he's gone on and he started to do it on a racetrack. There's plenty of upside, and it's fair to say after winning a maiden, he's a group class animal.
And hey, judging by your comments pre-race, Nath, he's got home in 10.54, so he's absolutely treaded water to the line, has he?
No, he hasn't treaded water, Jace, but I was very impressed to see the 18.56 up the back again, and 10.50 home at this stage of his preparation is most probably good. As you mentioned, he's not two for a couple of months yet, and he's just kicking off his racing campaign. If he can keep running through the line with his breeding, you notoriously think he's going to be 600 and beyond, but he might be one of them that might be too fast to really get over a trip, Jace. You know, we've seen it with the likes of Aston Rupee and that. They'd be wonderful 600-metre dogs going forward, but they're just that brilliant, and all the money is in group racing over 500. You keep him on the fresh side and try to get him on the arm. When you can run sections like Saquon can, he's going to be a major player in greyhound racing going forward in the next 12 to 24 months.
Now, it's a lovely-looking greyhound and a point of interest for me that means absolutely nothing. You mentioned this tiers line and the generations of the past that have produced stayers. I mean, a lot of black dogs from memory. We've had, say, Tornado Tears been white and black. Rip and Sam might have been white and form. This boy's blue. From my recent memory, can't think of many from this line, at least who have been any good, that have been that colour.
No, and in modern day breeding, there's more and more blues being popped up with the Tommy Shelbys and that, you know, I keep seeing litters of Tommy Shelbys and majority of them blue. So I'm thinking in the coming years, where you're typically seeing black dog after black dog, you're going to start to see some blue dogs and more colour through the breeding side of things. But yeah, most of the tiers line is black or white and black, and I think the white and black and that all come from the Fernando Bale cross to the tiers line, but typically a dominant line with black as a dominant colour. But this fella's blue, and he's certainly very fast.
When I think of this line, my memory, which isn't as deep as what a lot of people's are, goes back to the likes of Space Star. What about further back than that? What are some of the stars that have come out of this that have just continued to prove year after year?
Mate, you'd have to sit down and have a beer with Robbie Britton, and I'm sure he'd be able to tell you every top quality greyhound that's come out of that line for decades. He's always had a good hand on the tiers line, and Yeah, I couldn't go much further back than you. I'm not the breeding buff, so to speak, Jace. I'm more living in the moment of form guide and
More of an elite trainer, get the fast dogs and make them perform, yeah?
oh, and that's not me. I'm too busy trying to find a winner. But anyway, it's a very good dam line and continues to typically throws strong dogs, and it's got one here that's got plenty of speed underneath the bonnet as well. So what a wonderful looking animal, and what a wonderful time. You know, the Greenos, they have a changing of the guards with Wow, she's fast, and now they find a Saquon, you know. Big Energy has made retirement as well. So it's just the kennel just turns over superstar after superstar. And there's one thing I do know, they're in no better hands in the Greeno kennel to get the most out of them. And Saquon will certainly get that out of his ability in the future moving forward.
Yep, future's absolutely untapped. And what about those targets coming up, Nath? I mean, he's clearly eligible for the maturity in July, which you'd assume